just going to have a look at the operator station controls here on this 450G track type tractor. This machine is a machine with steering, clutch, and brake controls independent for the right and left track, and it's a direct drive machine, so it has a clutch pedal that we'll have to look at. So I'm going to take you around the operator station. First thing I want to do before ignition is of course do up my seat belt. And then we'll go around left to right, starting with the throttle control and the left-hand side. The throttle, of course, pretty industry standard stuff. We've got tortoise and a hare. Tortoise being slower engine speed, rabbit or hare for faster engine speed, and that's just simply a lever with friction to hold it in the position you put it in. Of course, with this machine, when I put it in the rabbit or hare position, I've also got a tortoise pedal, or a decelerator pedal it's called, that will give us some modulation of the engine throttle control and allow us to control the engine speed with our right foot as opposed to throttling up and down. So I'm just going to start the engine up here briefly and demonstrate that operation. So I'm going to start in tortoise position, where the pedal is actually then down at the floor. It doesn't really have any function. Once the engine's running, I'm at low idle. If I rev up to tortoise speed, as you can see, the pedal the decelerator pedal gives me almost as much control as just pulling the throttle down to the low idle position. So I've got two options there for decelerating the engine. To the right of the throttle control, I've got the parking brake lever. So I was doing that test with the parking brake applied. The parking brake is literally a brake on the drive line of this machine, but the parking brake control handle does a secondary function in that it locks the transmission control lever into a park position detent, so it can't be pulled out. Once I unlock that handle, I can go into either the forward gate on the control, and I can select one of 4 forward gear ranges, or I can go over the reverse gate and select one of 4 reverse speeds. And there's little icons here to let you know which way is forward and reverse. So that parking brake should be down for starting the machine. Again, moving around from left to right, the clutch pedal. Much like an automotive clutch on a standard car, you push that clutch pedal down, it disengages drive to the tracks. Like a standard car, this machine, when the clutch is disengaged, can roll on a grade. So we've got a brake pedal, and that brake pedal can be applied with either foot in case of emergency from either side of the steering clutch controls. And then in the middle here, these two handles are independent clutch controls. Unlike the clutch pedal, which disengages drive to both sides, we've got a clutch for the left track drive and a clutch we can disengage for the right track drive. So of course this machine has no steering other than stopping or starting one of the tracks as we travel forward or reverse. So if I want to travel and turn to the left, I'm going to disengage the drive to the left track, and of course then the right track is going to pivot around it. If I want to disengage the right track, I can do that, and then the left track will pivot around that. Now, that free rolling track may still want the machine to go straight, so if I pull further back on either the clutch pedal handles, or clutch handles, I will apply a brake and actually put the brakes on that track that I've disengaged the drive from. So it just depends how far back you pull that control. Then again, the decelerator pedal, that's really covers what your feet need to do on this machine. Clutch, brake. Brake is there whether you disengage the drive partially with the steering clutch control handles or use the clutch pedal. Again, yeah, free rolling machine or freewheeling machine can be stopped with the brake. If you use the brake pedal when the machine is in gear and traveling forward or reverse and you don't have the clutch disengaged, then you're going to stall the engine because this is a direct drive machine. But the brakes do have enough power to do that. So lots of options for disengaging the drive and bringing this machine to a stop. We can decelerate the engine to slow it down. We can change gear speed ranges to speed it up or slow it down. We can put it in neutral or park manually. We can apply the park brake lever. We've got the brake pedal. Lots of ways to stop it. Failing all that, we could shut the ignition off, and the park brake will be applied by springs when the engine stops as well. Heading over to the hydraulic control, this machine has a 6-way blade. So we've got one axis for raising and lowering the blade and C-frame, and if I push it forward, I lower the blade, pull it back, I raise the blade, let go, it springs centers back to a neutral position. If I go beyond the lower position and push the control hard, I'll move into a float detent where the blade will float over the contours of the ground. Pull it back out of the detent for float, back to hold. I've got the second axis here, which will tip the corners of the blade down, just like the axis of the handle will reflect. The third axis of blade movement is angling, and so I've got a rotational movement on that handle, which again, the blade will follow the handle. Everything spring centered back to that neutral or hold position. So I'm just going to start the machine up and show you the process to engage drive and first forward, and just at low idle we'll take the machine ahead and we'll back it up. So seatbelt's fastened, disconnect switch is down here. I've got to turn power onto the battery by rotating that switch clockwise. So there's battery's disconnected, battery's connected, park brake lever's down for starting. Throttle control I'm going to verify is in the turtle position. I can step on the decelerated pedal to verify that as well. Feet on the brakes, or feet on the brake pedal, I'm going to start it up. Going to raise the blade just off the ground a little bit. Going to take the parking brake off the machine. The feel of the brake pedal changed a little bit there because now I've got brake control, and if I push the clutch in, of course then the machine can freewheel. I'm going to go into first gear forward and push the clutch in, although that's optional. I'm going to push the clutch in, put the shifter into first forward detent, and then if I let the clutch up, of course I'm going to start taking off in first gear. If I throttle up, get more speed, using either the decelerator pedal, or I can manually control the throttle with my left hand. Reverse gate. I didn't use the clutch that time. Again, clutch operation is optional. Turn the machine, I'll just go forward, do a pivot turn to the right, and pull the right steering clutch lever back, and of course that disengages drive to the right track. If I pull it back further, I engage the brake on the right track and do a sharper turn. To the left, disengage the left drive, the machine starts to veer to the left, apply the brake on the left track,